Laurence, I'm going to spotlight you for everybody now so that you can start.
Okay. Okay, I'll just unview myself so I don't have to be distracted and I can see everybody. Well, shall we start then?
Yes, please.
Good. Well, thank you, Kate, and thank you, Kevin, for managing this for us, and thank you all for being part of this journey that we've been making the last 4 weeks. This is the fourth. Oh, sorry, I just lost my place. This is the fourth talk in our series. Um, You might ask, why do we have a new series, a new way of introducing meditation? And the answer is simply really that it is new. Meditation is always new. And we have to find new ways of describing it that don't necessarily replace earlier ways of describing it. But in order to make sure that we are up to date in the language and in our thinking about it. And this morning, before we started, I was reading the readings from the Mass, and the first reading is from Ecclesiastes, and it's this complaint um, that everything is the same, nothing changes, everything comes round in a cycle, all is vanity, there's nothing new under the sun. It's this deep how do you describe it? Loss of excitement and freshness in life, and and there's a lot of that in our world today. We seem to have lost the glory of life, the beauty of life, and it, sorry, could somebody mute, please? Could everybody make sure they're mute because I'm hearing voices, unless the voices are in my head. Um, it sounds as if they're coming from the screen. Thank you. So uh, that is a condition of our modern world. We're preoccupied with the crisis, the multiple crisis we are in, and every day we hear more about the crisis. So, in a way, this reading from Ecclesiastes captures something of um, that boredom, or not boredom, but this loss of hope and energy. But then the gospel today, which I read, is about King Herod, who is hearing news about Jesus, and he says some people were saying that Jesus was John the Baptist come back to life, and Herod says, "Well, I killed John the Baptist. It can't be John the Baptist." But I'm curious about Jesus, he says. I'm anxious to see him. I would like to know what he is about. So even in Herod, who's not the most beautiful character in the Bible, in Herod we can see that this love of life can be restored to us, and that's what I'd like to talk about today, really, in this last of the four talks. I'd like to look at two things: the journey we have started now that we have begun to meditate, and the big picture of what changes as we make this journey. Because life doesn't just come round and boring and crisis. Life changes. And remember, meditation is always a learning process. Meditation is always a learning process. And to learn anything, you need to be open and to be ready to change. Because whenever we really learn something, even if it's a new language or a new skill or a new job, we become a different person. Meditation is not what you think. I've said that before, and in both senses, it's true. One sense is where we don't think about anything while we meditate. We let go of good thoughts as well as silly thoughts. And secondly, meditation is always more than we think it is. it is more, it is surprising. For example, you are probably discovering now, if you've started to meditate, that meditation is a discipline, not just a novelty, something we get excited about and then drop for something else new. In two ways, it's a discipline. It's an interior discipline. We undertake the discipline of the mantra by letting go of thoughts of all kinds and returning to the word, to the mantra. So it is the discipline of attention. The word attention contains the Indo-European root sound, which means to stretch. So when we pay attention, we stretch. When we do physical exercise, we stretch and build our muscles. When we meditate, we stretch and strengthen the muscle of attention. We use this muscle in every waking conscious moment of our lives. Even when we're asleep and dreaming, as I was 2 hours ago, we are paying attention to our dreams. To meditate always makes us more attentive, more attentional in our relationship to ourselves, to our relationships with other people, to our work, to the planet that we inhabit, and to the ground of our being. All of this flows from the interior discipline of the mantra, but it is also the fruit of the exterior discipline of learning to build the habit of meditation into daily life, morning and evening, for between 20 and 30 minutes. But we all start from where we are, and we do as much as we can. But what's very important in learning a discipline is to do it regularly. So we are learning a discipline. Now, unless perhaps you say, I just want to meditate for nothing more than to relax, to de-stress. I want to sleep better. I want to cope better with life's ups and downs. I just want life to be easier. But if you want life to be not just easier, but deeper and richer, that's when we embrace a discipline. In learning a discipline, we are changing, because learning anything changes us, changes the way we see the world, changes the way we see ourselves. The word discipline comes from the Latin word, which means to learn, and it gives us the word disciple. If we are really learning anything, we are becoming a disciple. That means we see ourselves differently. But a disciple of what? Most of us today are told, think of yourself as a consumer, or think of yourself as an employee, or think of yourself as a voter. But think of yourself as a disciple. If we're really learning, we are becoming a disciple. But a disciple of what? That's the question. It's a mystery. There's more to meditation than we think. But that's because there's more to being alive than we can ever imagine, or perhaps anybody ever told us. I've spoken about going deeper than the surface triviality and the addictiveness of our present culture. Things are even advertised today, Netflix series, because they are addictive. Get hooked, get addicted to this. It's almost something that seems to be an advantage. But we could equally well describe it as expanding, stretching, opening our minds and hearts, and discovering at some point that there is no limit to this expansion of consciousness. This is where we have to get to in order to change ourselves and change the world. Now, we go through levels of consciousness. The first of these levels are programmed by cultural values we live by. We didn't choose them, and probably we would like to be free from them. Success, approval, looking good, having people envious of us. But then we travel through deeper levels of consciousness, of what some people call a collective unconscious, where we share in responses and awareness that goes beyond time and geography. The psychiatrist Carl Jung said that this collective unconscious does not derive from personal experience. It's not a personal acquisition, but it's inborn. We come loaded with it. It's not individual, but universal. Where is the unique, authentic level of consciousness, which is my true self, my true home? It is there. It is here. It's always here, not there, to be found, discovered, awakened to. But it can never be what we imagine or expect it's going to be. It will always surprise us. The closer we come to it, the less me there is. And it will almost seem that I am going to disappear altogether. The better question, the better koan, is perhaps not what is my true self, but who finds my true self? Who finds my true self? And for the response to this question, I suggest don't go to brain or neurological research on meditation. It can be very interesting, but rather go to the wisdom traditions of humanity. The teaching of Jesus is squarely in this wisdom, this universal wisdom, when he says, anyone who wishes to find himself will lose himself. Anyone who wishes to find herself will lose herself. The Desert Fathers, the early Christian monks who gave us this way of meditation, said, the monk who knows that he is praying is not truly praying. The monk who does not know that he is praying is truly praying. So we go beyond self-consciousness. There's the paradox. To find ourselves, we have to go beyond ourselves. As I've said before, we need wisdom today. But sadly, most of our religious institutions are not delivering wisdom as they should. If you go to if you go to the supermarket, you expect to buy milk and rice and whatever else you need. If you go to church, you should find wisdom. But sadly, that is often not the case. Religion itself in our time is in transition, and it is often very polarized. We have Islamic extremists. We have Christian fundamentalists who reject everyone who's not baptized or not in their camp. Very un-Jesus-like. And not surprisingly, there is spiritual confusion. And that's why a new language is necessary for religion to communicate wisdom again. Meditation is that new language. Many Christians ask, is meditation prayer? And I respond with these wise words of a very early Christian teacher, Origen, who said, listen to this, prayer in itself is good. It calms the mind, it reduces sin, and it produces good deeds. I think that is so complete. Prayer in itself is good. That means you don't have to justify it by saying, oh, it helps me to sleep better at night or helps me to deal with panic attacks. All of those are byproducts. But it's good in itself. Like the love you have for your parents, for your children, for your friends. Prayer in itself is good. And it calms the mind, and it reduces sin or egoism, and it produces good deeds, even when we don't know we're doing them. And this is prayer as Jesus used the expression prayer, as does the later Christian mystical tradition. If we learn this, and we will have to learn it through our own experience, then art, music, poetry, science, all these then become available for a new language, and so a new consciousness and a new human life. The philosopher Wittgenstein said, "The limits of my language are the limits of my world. I'm limited in my experience of the world by my language, by the limits of my language." The wonderful result of this expansion of mind and heart is seeing that everything is sacred. Everything reveals the divine, because everything is participating in a self-transcending wholeness. Now, human life has been compared to the course of a day. In the morning of life, we create our persona, our personality, our way of acting in the world. At noon, we have a crisis, the chadia of the desert, the dark night of depression, or feeling meaningless. We say, why do I feel this? In coping, I have enough, or perhaps I even have a lot of money. I'm luckier than most people. Even my marriage, my family are blessings to me. But round about the age of 35, or a little earlier or a little later, you should be questioning in this way. Okay, but what's it all for? What is the meaning of it all? And then that is the beginning of your spiritual search. And you may make the search outside of religion as such, because you're not finding the wisdom you need there. And so maybe that is why you are starting to meditate. So this little model of life is fairly good, but it's incomplete, because we know that meditation can be introduced to children at a very young age. So instead of giving your infant or your toddler a screen to pacify them for hours on end, which is also going to limit their brain development, you could simply teach them to meditate. They would love it and love to meditate with you. It's a lifelong practice of ever-increasing depth and wonder. Meditation develops as we pass through the stages of our own development. It grows with us, and it helps us to grow more. So don't wait till your child starts using drugs or getting into depression, and don't wait till you burn out. The goal of life is not success, but wholeness. We may have to unlearn some of the values, some of the ideas that we learned. Unlearning these cultural values can be difficult when your middle-aged heart has become stubborn and fixed and stony. We have to restore our heart to its original freshness. Our heart can become like stone. It has to become like flesh again. Meditation makes sense of the psalm when it says, God fills my life with good things. My youth is renewed like the eagles. O God, restore the joy of my youth. So you may be having, or you may have had, a midlife crisis. Don't leave it too late and don't waste it. We should be getting younger, even as our poor old body wears out. This youthfulness of spirit brings us to learn to play with God, to see meditation as a way of playing with God, who is always younger than we are. God has not lost the appetite of the child for life. Meditation helps us shed all the baggage that we don't need anymore. You know, when you're traveling and you have too many bags and stuff you bought in duty free and you've got to get it all on the plane and then you forget it. And we don't need all this baggage. We don't need anxiety, hypochondria, selfishness, the obsession to control, to acquire and preserve, to keep on developing our ego. Individualism is a trap, and meditation helps us to escape from it. Recently, UNESCO sent a questionnaire to the world's leading thinkers, and they asked, what do you think is the most important topic for the 21st century? And the majority of these great thinkers said, religion. Obviously not religion as we have it today, that's locked into hierarchy, structures, intellectual pride and arrogance, lack of wisdom, but religion in its essential sense. And again, this essential meaning of religion is hidden in the word itself, to relink or to reread reality. In this renewed religion, God becomes experience, not an idea. Prayer is not magic, which changes the external world according to my wishes. It changes us. Prayer changes the person who prays. And this combo of the experience of God and pure prayer also creates community. And the WCCM, which many of you belong to, will understand this. Why pure prayer, meditation, creates community. And then the world begins to appear in its true colors. I'd like to show you now a couple of pictures of God, which you may not have seen before. And the first is number 1. Kevin? Got it? Well, no, number 1. 1. That's number something else. Picture number 1. It's a hook hanging in the sky. No. Have you got it? It's a picture of a hook. It's the first picture. Kevin, can you hear me?
Yes,
take
Laurence, it was up before.
I think we can't see what you can see. We can just see the we need to see the picture of the hook, and we can just see the William Blake sketch at the moment.
I know. I sent 3 pictures, 3 separate pictures. 1, 2, and 3.
It's up.
What can you see? Can you see the hook?
I see a hook.
No. Could you stop sharing and then reshare, please?
Okay.
Thanks. Sometimes that's, yeah, if you just...
Sometimes it's very difficult to see God. Okay, picture number 1.
We're not seeing anything right now, Kevin.
I don't know why.
No.
Share.
Yeah.
Putting it up. Share. It says my screen sharing is paused and I don't know why.
Okay, shall I try?
Do you have the pic?
Yeah, let me just try. Can I, if I stop your your thingy, let's see.
That's it. That's it. So this is a picture by the American monk who died in 1968, very famous teacher of contemplation called Thomas Merton. And he called it the only known photo of God. So why do you think he said this about this photo? Obviously, he was joking. And he loved photography. He loved taking pictures of ordinary things and seeing them as revealing the mystery of God. So just think of that picture for a moment. You see the sky, something very above. You see the earth, and you see this hook. And what's a hook for? It's obviously for moving very heavy weights. We get hooked on God. And then we can be moved. Okay. The other picture I'd like to show you is number 2 by William Blake. It's called A Sketch of the Trinity. They're coming up? Yes. So he must have done this, while he was having a cup of tea one day. It's a very simple little sketch. Why does he call it the Trinity? Usually the Trinity shows, God the Father as a very old man with a long beard, and the Holy Spirit as a dove, and this second person of the Trinity sitting on the right-hand side of the Father. This is something much more dynamic, much more light in a way. You can see the dove, or is it a person, with the arms outstretched at the top of the picture, like a dove. And then you see the Father and the Son, but they don't look like two males. They're two people, they're two persons. And there's 3 persons of the Trinity. And there is this love between the Father and the Son, this embrace. And it's as if the Son is flying in abandonment, flying into the embrace of the Father. And the Holy Spirit, the love between them, hovers over them. It's a beautiful, beautiful picture, and it takes us beyond the gender thing of father and son, because it could be, it's beyond gender, this picture. Anyway, it's an unusual, beautiful picture of great passion and compassion. So what I'm saying is that there are different ways for us to see God than we were brought up in, and meditation will help us to see. And there's one more picture of God I'd like to show you, which is by the medieval nun Hildegard of Bingen. She was a wonderful figure, very creative, brilliant genius. She wrote books on healing and herbs and mystical poetry, and she was a great artist as well, and a musician. And she's one of the great women mystics of our tradition. And this is a picture showing humanity, and in the person of Jesus. So the whole of humanity is concentrated in this person of Jesus. And where is Jesus? He's in the heart of the Trinity. You see the circles, and that. So we, humanity, are in the heart of the Trinity in the person of Jesus. So, okay, we can come out of the pictures now. Thank you very much. Sorry for the late, I only delivered them. Oh, wait, I got one more picture. Oh, I didn't send it to you. Doesn't matter. Now, I don't know whether I can send this to you. Yes, I can, I think, because I'm going to send it to you both. It's picture number 4, and this is about the journey we make in meditation. Where has it gone? Okay. So, Kate, I'm sending this to you because you're doing it now. Picture 4. Okay, there it goes. It will take a few minutes to travel thousands of miles, but it will make it, I'm sure. I sent it to your WCCM address. Okay. So this is a picture by a less famous artist called Laurence Freeman. And I hope you like it.
Just it's going to take a little minute for it to come through, I think. So
I'll say a little bit more about it. Just a second, I've lost my. Oh. 1 second. I got it. Okay. So so we looked at these different ways of seeing God that come to us as we enter into this experience of learning to meditate. And this is a journey, the journey of meditation. This picture describes the levels of consciousness that we pass through and that we constantly integrate. It's a deepening way that we relate to the mantra, to our daily discipline of the mantra, to the daily discipline of the morning and evening meditation, and to the ultimate goal. Never lose sight of the ultimate goal of meditation. Has it come through yet, Kate? Has it come through? Number 4, it should be 4. I apologize, this is entirely my fault because I've left it too late. So anyway, I'll start to, have you found it, Kate? Okay. So there are levels, we pass through levels of consciousness as we meditate. And this little diagram is a sketch of that, not as beautiful as the other pictures I showed. Has it come up? No, not yet.
I'm actually sharing it now, but it's really dark. It's come really dark. I don't quite know why. Can you see it? It says monkey mind.
Yes, okay. Well,
I hope everybody can see it vaguely.
Okay, well, anyway, the first level is I call the monkey mind. This is what we discover when we start to meditate, that our mind is all over the place. We're jumping from one thought to another, one problem to another, and we keep constantly getting interrupted. And then you think, oh, I can't do this. So you give up meditation. But then you come back to it. And especially if you're meditating with other people, you have the support of others, then it's much easier to come back to. So, but that is the first experience of the monkey mind. But if we continue, we go to another level, which I would call the hard disk. You know, every computer has a hard disk where everything is recorded. And so we have our own unconscious, everything that has happened to us in the course of our life, our oldest memories, very often our oldest pain, hurts and losses, people we've loved who've died, relationships that have broken, pain that we've been through, illness we've been through. So this hard disk, some of it has not yet healed. And so we bury it under the carpet, but it's still there calling for us to integrate it, to heal it. And the work of meditation will bring healing to these old memories, this deep level of consciousness. And then as we go to through the saying of the mantra, and then this saying of the mantra will bring us to another level, which I call the brick wall. And this is the brick wall of the ego. And the brick wall has been constructed over many years, perhaps. And we build this wall to protect ourselves, to look good, to function in the world. But it can become a prison. We can become a prisoner of our ego. But so we hit this wall with a feeling of being separated. But then the bricks start to fall out of the wall if we keep saying the mantra. And then you see that there's something on the other side of the ego, something on the other side of the brick wall. And what do we see? What do we find? We find ourselves in the spirit. John Main said that at the frontier of our identity, we meet a guide. And the guide is the risen Jesus, who leads us into the rest of the journey. He is our guide for this whole journey. And then we go into the spirit, into oneness. And then we go into the eternal expansion of the Father. So this is the Trinity again. We go in Jesus with the Spirit to the Father. And this is an experience we can't, of course, put into words or imagine, but this is the deepest experience that meditation leads us to, opening ourselves beyond our ego to the mystery of God. And then just look at the picture again, if you can. At the first level, we're saying the mantra and the monkey mind, but we're constantly being interrupted. But with practice, it becomes more familiar. We use less effort. And so it's more as if we're sounding the mantra with less effort. And then when we get to the brick wall, it's as if we're listening to the mantra. And this is where we really begin to take the attention of ourselves. And that's the whole purpose of meditation. And then meditation, the mantra will then lead us into complete silence. But we're not silent as long as we can say, oh, I'm silent. Oh, I'm having a good meditation. So as long as you can think that or say that, we should be saying the mantra. So there's a little thing that may help you. So we've reached the end of the beginning, but it's the beginning of a journey with no end. So I and the wonderful team that has been part of this for the past 4 weeks, the translators, Kath, Kate, Dio, Mike, Kevin, all of the people helping to bring this about, and you yourselves, more each week, I was happy to hear. We have become a sign that meditation creates community, and a certain kind of community. It's a community that is created by meditation, but it's a community in which we can learn to meditate, that we can teach it and practice it and share it with others and witness to the world that this is available. This is a path for us all to follow. So my final tip in learning to meditate is find a way to meditate with others at least once a week. I'd also suggest signing up for daily wisdom or daily email, and continue. Remember the small acts of kindness. The best way to prepare for meditation is with small acts of kindness. And get a pocket-sized copy of the Gospels, or the Bhagavad Gita, or the Dhammapada, the Tao Te Ching, and keep it in your bag, keep it in your pocket, and read it during the day. So after the meditation now, Kate will speak more about other resources available to you as you begin. So let us now have our time of meditation. To meditate, we practice stillness, silence, and simplicity. This picture you see here is from Bonneveau, and it's a picture of the labyrinth. It's a journey to the center. And all we have to do is stay on the path and put one step in front of the other and keep faithful to the path, and it will take us to the center, because that's where we're going. So keeping on the path is saying the mantra. So let's prepare with a moment of silence and stillness, sitting with a good posture with your back straight. Maybe move your shoulders around a little bit, your head, so that you feel comfortable, relaxed. Feet on the ground, your hands on your lap or on your knees. Relax the muscles of your face, your neck, your jaw, and close your eyes lightly. Be aware of your breathing for a few moments. As you breathe in the gift of life, always new, always fresh. And you breathe out again because it's a gift. Life is a gift. Then gently begin to say your word, your mantra. This is all we have to do during this time, 15 minutes of meditation now. Say the word and keep returning to the word when you become distracted. The word I would recommend, as you know, is the word Maranatha, an ancient word that means come Lord. But we're not thinking about the word as the meaning of the word as we say it. We're letting go of all thoughts. We're not speaking to God. We're not thinking about God. We're not speaking to ourselves. We're not thinking about ourselves and our problems. We are being with God. This is what meditation is about. And we do that by saying the word simply and faithfully. Keep returning to the word as you if you get distracted, just don't worry, just drop the thought and come back to the mantra. Word again is Maranatha. Ma-ra-na-tha. 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 Okay, time the meditation now. Okay. Okay. So let's end the meditation with this very ancient prayer that every one of our great faith traditions, including the gospel itself, can relate to. And it's what we are doing when we meditate. And this is how the prayer goes. Lead me from the unreal to the real. Lead me from darkness to light. Lead me from death to what is beyond death. Let there be peace in every realm, everywhere. Good. So I hand over to Kate now, and you're welcome to put any thoughts or questions, I think, on the chat. It's the same way we did before, Kate, is that right?
Yes, please. Yes, if you have any questions, please do ask them via chat. I think that's the best way. Just to say, I will email the pictures that we've been looking at today, and I realized the last one wasn't very visible. Oh, and the words of the last prayer as well. Yes, it's beautiful. Where is the last prayer from?
It's from the Isha Upanishad.
Christina asks, how can we join your regular meditation? Well, I was going to talk about that after we've had our Q&A. So, Christina, I will. Shall I talk about that now? Or?
Yes. But it gives people time to send in more questions. Or
what I wanted to do actually is just to share my screen with our lovely website, because there is a lot of information on the website, and I wanted to draw your attention to particularly this tab here, which says meditate and find a group. So when you click on the find the group, you will see, I hope, meditation groups, and you scroll down, you can find a local group or you can find an online group. And as Father Laurence says, really the best thing is to join either a local group or an online group. So you click on either of these tabs. When you click on the Find a Local Group tab, you'll see that we have a wonderful map of all of the national communities in the world here. I hope you can see that map.
yes.
Great. And you can see over here that we have lots of pinpoints here to click on. When you do, then you'll go to the national coordinator. So you can immediately connect in with your local community, which I think is very important to do that. There you'll find information about local groups, weekly groups in your region, and also online. I hope that helps you.
Mm.
So Owen asks, which is one better, online or local? Which is a good question, isn't it?
Yes. Well, what's better, heads or tails? I think they're the two sides of the same coin. I personally, yes. I think if I had to choose, I think a local group is always stronger in a way, as a help. because it's more, you're embodied, you know, you're with people. Since COVID, we've all been spending more and more of our life online. People don't want to go to work anymore. They want to stay at home, work online. And of course, there's a great, I mean, we're online now and we're connected. There's no doubt we're connected. And you can meditate with people online and feel the benefit of that. But there's something more when you are with people in person. And what that is what we mean by being fully human, because we are embodied beings, and to be together, and you can communicate more fully just by being together. So I would say use the online group. You know, it's convenient and it is very good, but make sure, if you can, that you meditate with other people in person as often as you can as well, because that opens up a whole different dimension of it to you. And, you know, from a Christian point of view, Jesus said, where 2 or 3 of you are gathered in my name, I will be there with you. And that's true. I think if you go to a meditation group and there are 2 or 3 people there one evening, you know, Christ is there too. Now, it's also true when we meditate together, I believe that presence is also there. So, but I think the answer is, what do you feel is the difference between being with someone online and being with them physically in person? We all know there's a difference. So
Thank you. So we have a couple of questions. If I have time only to either meditate or say the rosary, what should I choose?
that sounds like a trick question.
And are we allowed to practice yoga as Catholics?
Yes. If you have to choose between meditation and saying the rosary, I think you do it. I don't know. It's I mean, it's a genuine. I see the point of the question, and we only have a limited amount of time. But I think basically we need both. If you find the rosary to be a helpful way of prayer, I think it will be pointing you towards meditation as well. So they're not competition, but they are different. So I think I would say, think of it this way: the time you give to meditation comes back to you 100-fold. Well, maybe not 100-fold, but certainly 50-fold. The time you give to meditation reduces the stress in your life. It changes the way you feel about time. Usually we think we've got to pack everything in, and I'm doing too many things, and I'm stressed out. And meditation changes the way you experience time. So I think find a way of doing both. Maybe you'll have to adjust your timetable, but meditation is the condition of pure prayer that all forms of prayer point us towards. This is the teaching, actually, as well, of the Church. All forms of prayer should lead us into contemplation. And contemplation is the simple being in God, deeper than thought, deeper than words, deeper than imagination, deeper than any external sign. So I'm sorry to give you, it's both and, not either or. The other question you have is, are we allowed to practice yoga as Catholics? Yes. I think it would be a strange Catholic who would say no, because the Church says that the church rejects nothing that is true and holy in other religions. It's from the Second Vatican Council. The church rejects nothing true and holy in other religions. And in the Indian tradition, yoga is something very true and very holy. It's not magic. It's no, I think the fundamentalists or some Christian groups get frightened of it. They think it's all magic and spells and things, which is nonsense, I'm sorry to say. We are the religion of the body. The sacred language of Christianity is the body, because God took a human form in the person of Jesus. Therefore, the body is sacred. St. Paul says the body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. We are part of the body of Christ. So yoga, in many kinds of yoga, of course, but in Hatha yoga, the exercises are simply there to help harmonize the body and the mind. And for many of us in modern society and modern education, we have separated the body and the mind. That's why we feel divided. And holiness means wholeness. It means allowing the body and the mind to be one, because we are one. And that is the wonderful mystery of Christianity, that we have a love for the body, and we see the body as a sacrament, as a sign of God's presence, and of our own ability to be with God. Remember the pictures of Hildegard of Bingen with humanity in the body of Jesus, in the heart of the Trinity. So yes, of course, you can practice yoga, and as a Christian, there's absolutely no reason not to do that. And can we say the mantra outside of meditation as well? Rosa asks. Yes, I think that's very natural. As you meditate more regularly, you'll find that the mantra begins to sink into the heart. And so at other times of the day, when you're waiting for the dentist, or you're sitting on a bus, or you're in between appointments, you don't have to just pick up a magazine and do something mindless. You can use that time to meditate. Just that say you have 10 minutes to kill. Well, don't kill it. Bring it alive, and say the mantra and listen to the mantra in those 10 minutes, and your whole day will be renewed and refreshed and re-energized. So, and similarly, when you're walking or relaxing, or even when you're going to sleep at night, the mantra will very naturally come into your mind, into your heart, and then listen to it, because it's a sign. It's a sign, an inner sacrament. It's a sign of the joy and the peace of the presence of Christ in you, and that this prayer of the Spirit is flowing in you 24/7. This is the Christian understanding of prayer. It's not what I do, it's what God is doing in me. So through the Spirit, we enter into the life of God, and the prayer of the Spirit is in us at all times. Meditation, we're simply opening ourselves to that, and the mantra is like a key that opens that door and leads us into the prayer of the Spirit. So as the mantra takes root in your heart, in your life, it opens up a wonderful new experience.
We're running out of time. May I just ask one more question, and then I think I'll gather up the questions that we haven't had time to answer, and we can do those offline. But this question, I think, is one that lots of people wonder about. During meditation, if thoughts arise, I go back to the mantra. But is it possible for the mind to be truly free from thought? Or is the idea for the mantra to be the thought for the mind to focus on? is it recommended to investigate the thoughts that crop up during the meditation, i.e., thoughts, my sinfulness versus God's holiness,
Yeah.
or after the session is over?
Good. Well, that's a good question to ask and just to think about. I think it's radical. Meditation is radical. We're letting go of thoughts. And this is not something new. This is at the heart of the Christian teaching on prayer. You look at Saint Bonaventure's description of the mind, of the journey of the person to God. He describes this understanding of prayer, where we let go of all thoughts, all the operations of the mind, imagination, comparison, thinking, worrying, fantasizing. So it is, yes, it is possible. It is possible to be conscious without thought, without conceptual thought. And so that's why we say the mantra in order to let go of all thoughts. And that's not negative. It's not negative because, of course, at other times we do have thoughts and we need thoughts, but you'll find that your way of thinking changes. Your mind becomes calmer and clearer as a result of these times of meditation where you like fast from thought. You say, I'm not, think of it as a little fast, 20-minute or 30-minute fast. You're letting go of thought and you feel better. You feel better for it. We think too much and we need to get out of our heads and to open the heart. So yeah, don't underestimate either the challenge or the reward of meditation. Could I just answer a couple of these questions? Because Father, for yoga, many priests have different opinions. Yoga, is it not a form of prayer of Hinduism using the body movement? And some yoga practice like Kundalini is activating our chakras. Is this not something that we need to avoid? I think, first of all, I would say understand it. I think if you condemn this sacred tradition, and the church does not condemn the sacred traditions of other faiths, it recognizes the truth and holiness within them. This is why there's a whole organization in Rome, in the church, for interreligious dialogue. So we have to get out of this fear and ignorance, which makes Christians into some little sect. Nothing to be frightened of, nothing to be frightened of. Jesus said, do not fear. So St. Leo the Great said, Christian, recognize your dignity. So we have to get out of this little cult-like idea that, of Christianity, that it's protecting ourselves or condemning other people. That's not what it's about. So expand, open your heart, get rid of fear, and understand these traditions. It's very important because I understand many people were brought up to think of these the other traditions, especially in Asia, as if they were, enemies or dangers or inferior. That's not how we should be thinking about it. It's not what the church advises us to do anymore. And if there are priests or other people who say that, then challenge them, because that's not the official teaching of the church. So, and we should understand these faiths. And very, very briefly, we believe that Jesus is the Word of God made flesh in a human being. But the Word of God existed from time, from the very beginning. And so, and God has revealed himself in different ways, according to the letter to the Hebrews, in different ways, in different times, in different faiths and different traditions. This is still the Word of God. The Christian should recognize this as something holy, because we believe that Jesus is the Word made flesh. So we have to get out of that old way of condemnation and fear, and we need to expand our minds into the universal Christ. Do not fear. This is the message of the gospel. So, and ignorance leads to fear. So let us understand and respect the other traditions, and we'll understand and love our own tradition even more.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for your teaching. Just put a spotlight so I can see. It's really been a wonderful course. Thank you all for your participation and your brilliant questions.
Yes, thank you.
So next step, somebody had said, is there going to be another follow-on? We're organising another course, which will be expanding our learning, deepening our practice. That will be online in 2025, and it will be called Feeling the Way. And we'll be advertising it, and I will email you all to let you know the dates when we know them and when we have the program organized. So I really look forward to our continued relationship with you all. Of course, you must contact support@wccm.org. If we can help with anything, we will. If not, get to your national communities and get meditating. Thank you so much. I'll send the recording and the pictures later today.
Thank you, Kate. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you. Thanks, Kevin.
Welcome. Thank you all.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you,
Bye-bye,
Father. Thank you,
everybody.
Kate.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
We won't say goodbye. We'll say see you soon.
See you soon.
See you soon.
See you soon, Father.
See you
Bye.
soon.
Thank
See
you.
you. Thank you,
God
Father
bless.
Laurence.
Good night, Father.
Cool.
See you soon,
Everyone.
everyone.
Father.
See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Mhm. Bye.
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 Thank you,
God bless.
Father.
Hello. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye, Father. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Bye.
Good
Thank
to
you.
be with
Bye,
you.
Father. Bye, Bon Vote team. You were great. Bye.
Oh, you're all great. It's lovely. Wonderful
Bye.
community. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.